City of Kingston's YouTube channel, and it is also being recorded. I do ask that everybody in the audience please silence your cell phones. If you do have any conversations, please take them outside of the room. There are conference rooms on either side of the main room here that you can use. We also ask that if we do need to exit the building, please do not use the elevator. If you do need assistance, please ask us if there's an emergency. We'll try and use the stairs to get out. Bathrooms are out the door to my right. Men's is towards the front and ladies to the rear. And I think with that, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:34 p.m. And I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Mark Grumblatt to introduce the members of the HLPC Commission.
Good evening. My name is Mark Grunblatt. I chair Historic Landmark Preservation Commission. I'm going to ask our commissioners to introduce themselves. I'll start at the end with you, Robert.
Robert Tonner, Commissioner.
Andrea Putz, Architect of the Commission.
Kevin.
Kevin McAvoy, Commissioner.
Eddie Morano, Commissioner.
Thank you. And I'll turn this over to you, Bonnie.
Hello, I am Bonnie Hallen. I'm the chairman of the Heritage Area Commission, and same thing, I'm going to go around with my group and have everyone introduce themselves, starting to my right.
Mike Del Priore, Commissioner.
Janet Maher, Commissioner.
Eddie Morano, Commissioner.
Kevin McAvoy, Commissioner.
I just also want to recognize, other than myself from staff, we have Kyla Dide, the assistant planner here this evening, and we have a new staff member, Ethan Dickerman, is joining us. Ethan is the Historic Preservation Administrator for the office, so he will be working with both of these commissions very closely. Ethan, do you just want to introduce yourself and just give a little, maybe 2-second blurb?
Yes, hi. My name is Ethan Dickerman. I am the recently appointed Historic Preservation Administrator. I'm working with Sue and Kyla, and I'm excited to get to know you all and work with you and help with preservation in the community.
Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we will move into the agenda. You want to go first?
Do you want to adopt, the Historic Landmarks wasn't here the last time, but Heritage Area was, so we want to adopt the minutes from the last meeting.
With Heritage, there are two. You need to adopt both February's and March's minutes.
Okay.
At February, all we had present were you, Bonnie, Nettie, and Janet.
All right, so do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes from the February 2023 meeting?
Janet Maher, so moved to adopt the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Eddie Morano, second.
Are there any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie, I vote aye.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to adopt the March? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Kevin.
Aye.
And Mike.
And Mike. Does he have to abstain from that because he wasn't there?
I missed two in a row.
It's okay. No wet noodle slashes. And March was also, you weren't here, it was the two of you and me?
Yes, Kevin and Janet were there.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to adopt the March 2023 minutes?
Motion, Kevin.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Janet.
Motion's on the floor. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Kevin?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie, I vote aye.
Okay.
All right, this is for Historic Landmark Preservation Commission. We have 3 months worth of minutes to review. Has everyone had a chance to take a look? Are there any amendments or corrections to the minutes as presented? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that we adopt the minutes for January 5th, February 2nd, and March 2nd as proposed.
So moved.
Thank you
Robert.
kindly, Robert. Do I hear a second?
Andrea Pute, second.
Thank you for that. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I also vote yes. Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Unanimously done. Thank you. All right, I think you're up next. Well, you're number 2 on the agenda.
Did you do the other months, or were you
I
doing
did
them
them
all
all
as
3 at
one?
once.
Okay, all right,
Trying to be efficient.
okay. Works for me.
So it looks like the first item on the agenda for the Heritage Area Commission is 702 Broadway, 7 Elmendorf Street. Do we have someone here from that?
Do you want to just come up and join us at the table?
Hi. So if you could, when you speak, if you could push the button on your microphone till that light turns green, if you could introduce yourselves to us and just tell a little bit about your project.
First of all, like the restaurant or the sign?
Just about the sign.
Ethan, do you want to just pull up the,
They're going to pull up on the video screen behind you. So if that helps you kind of talk about it a little bit, give you a visual,
In Spanish or in English?
whatever you're comfortable with. Do we?
Que hable español.
Sí, ese es el rótulo que voy a pegar donde el del builde 7 es donde voy a abrir un deli para vender comida.
Okay, they're opening on the 27th at Delhi and a place to sell food.
right, so that the board or the commissions understand the location of this. It's at the corner, actually, of Elmendorf and Broadway. There's 2 buildings on the property. This is the building on the side street along Elmendorf. And there is it's a mixed-use building, and there is, the planning board did have a retail component in this storefront approved. So this is essentially just putting the sign up for that deli to open.
And I see there's no illumination or anything on it. Is there anything that the planning board, any
No.
crosses
The
the
only,
Ts and
the
dots
only
the Is?
question I would ask, if you're familiar with like the sandwich board signs that go on the side, they're like the sidewalk signs that you see typically that you might put on the sidewalk. They look like a V kind of shape.
Should I ask in
Yeah.
Spanish? Es una pregunta de un señor secundario al fondo, como eso se pone en la calle. Si usted quiere un silo como eso, necesitamos los seguros específicamente de la ciudad. You're
Okay.
asking that, you're saying that they require the insurance specifically for that
They
sign.
need the insurance, and they would just, if they do that, there are regulations, and we can get them to them if that's something they're interested in putting up.
Si usted quiere eso, necesitamos las reglas de la ciudad y pregunta a ella por los reglos.
Por el momento yo creo que solamente de enfrente lo voy a pegar. Ya después lo voy a pensar
So
después.
solamente
Ajá,
en el
solamente de
edificio.
enfrente del edificio.
For now, they're only interested in the sign on the building.
Perfect.
So is this a seeker?
Type 2.
Type 2, all right. So do I hear a motion to approve this or as a type 2 action under seeker?
So motioned.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Kevin.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Do I hear a motion to approve the sign, the 60-inch wide by 20-inch vinyl laminate sign as produced by Fast Signs for the location of on 702 Broadway, 7 Elmendorf Street as presented?
Janet Mar, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Nettie Morano, second.
That motion's on the floor. Any other comments or questions on that? No? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. You're good. Thank
Eso
you.
es todo. Felicidades. Gracias.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
I think all right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Good luck.
Thanks so much. Okay, see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Next motion, or the next one on the floor is number 12 Warren Street. Do you have someone here from number 12 Warren Street?
No, they did, they contacted our office and they said they were not able to be present this evening.
Okay.
But I think that we can go forward and adopt, go through the project proposal. It's a solar panel roof installation.
Okay.
It's a straightforward,
Yes.
In the back?
Do you have any notes or concerns on this from the planning board's perspective? So do I hear a motion to approve this as a type 2 action under seeker?
Janet Mar, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Kevin.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Do I hear a motion to approve the installation of 8 solar panels, on an existing roof totaling 2.96 kilowatts at 12 Warren Street?
Nettie Morano, so move.
Do I hear a second?
Mike, second.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions on that one? Comments? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Seven. So the fourth item on our agenda is number 47 German Street. Hello.
Hi, how are you all?
If you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your project.
Yeah, I'm Kristen Wilson. I live at 66 Ravine Street, and I'm here representing Miguel Alvarado Juarez. He's doing a project on 47 German Street. He's replacing 4 windows on the lower level. He's doing some exterior waterproofing for the basement on the uphill side of the building, repairing the lower entrance of the building. And there were some photos in the application. And he's also doing some cosmetic repairs on the siding and the porch.
Okay, they're pulling it up on the screen so that you can see the building and the location. This is just outside of the historic district, so this is just a HAC review. But it certainly is an older building that, has a presence and does have an impact to the historic district. So the windows that are being replaced, you can see in the plans up there. I think they're also in your staff notes.
I can't tell in the pictures. Are they 6 over
6 over 1.
1 currently? And they're going in at 6, they're replacing them with 6 over 1?
I believe so. I'm sorry, I'm not super familiar with the project. I can't actually call him if that's allowed.
No, it's okay.
If there are very specific questions.
It looks like in the one photograph, it's 6 over 6 from the way the sun is hitting it. And then the replacement is 6 over 1. So I was just curious does that matter, Susan? They change it from, okay.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's more curiosity than anything else. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but the photograph shows, what appears to be 6/6 is what they're replacing the 6/1 with, so. Is it mixed?
One of them looks like it might even have a little screen stuff.
I was more curious than anything. Are there any questions for her about this, aside from mine? No?
There were some questions that I think Ethan sent him, and he answered via email. I don't know if you guys got copies of all of that.
Questions, I guess, regarding this property to them?
Yes, so one of the main questions I had was, if all of these windows are going to be replaced at some point, and Miguel did respond that there's a larger project that's planned for this that's going to come back with HAC review after they've secured an architect. More of the windows, I believe, will likely be done at that point, and those that aren't done will be painted to match those that are replaced to create a more cohesive presentation.
They would be the same kind and color as the first floor windows.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve this as a type 2 action under seeker?
So moved, Mike.
Do I hear a second?
Janet Mars, second.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. And do I hear a motion to approve the installation of 4 new windows, foundation water barrier, and repair to the woodwork and painting at 47 German Street?
Can we also add into that motion that, and it's in your staff notes as well, because this is a historic area, there is a little bit of sensitivity, so any excavation that takes place on the site, if something is unearthed, that you just immediately stop and contact our office so that we can just take a look and see what's going on in that, whatever is dug up, we can confirm that it's nothing of significance archaeologically. The other thing that we wanted to just make note of is that if any work does take place in the public right-of-way, that you do need to go to the DPW for a permit and get that before any work is done there.
Sure. Yeah, I think that was also clarified, at least the part about the archaeological items.
Right, that
in the
was
email
one of the
with
questions,
Miguel.
yes, yes.
So addending that motion, do I hear a motion to approve the installation of the 4 new windows, the foundation water barrier, and the repair to the woodwork and painting, as well as if there's any excavation work done and anything's unearthed, the contact of the planning department to review that, and public management of the right-of-way?
So moved, Nettie Morano.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, number 5, is 50 Crane Street. Hi.
Good evening.
Could you introduce yourself and tell us a little about your project?
Sure. My name is Noe Del Cid. I'm here representing RUPCO. We're doing the significant gut rehab of a vacant distressed home at 50 Crane for affordable home ownership. That's pretty much it.
I think she's pulling it up on the
Questions?
screen behind you too, if you want to reference that at all. So replacing windows, roof, siding, rebuilding porch and soffits, and foundation issues will be rectified as needed.
Yes.
What we have. Does your office have any other comments or questions
We
or
did
concerns on
send
this?
out some comments. I know Ethan sent them out to you. One of the questions had been with the upper story, the second story. Currently, there are 3 windows across the front, and the proposal is to reduce the size of the one as you're looking at the building to the right because of a bathroom that's going to be put in place there. The other 2 are being combined into a single larger window that would be the same kind of a larger window on the first floor. And we were just curious about why they weren't kept separated. The one issue that we're looking at right now, the city is undertaking a intensive level survey in that neighborhood. And one of the things, that's being recognized is the architectural features of these buildings. So we're trying to maintain as much of the architectural integrity of the structures as possible. We understand the lower one may be going to a single, but we'd like to see the upper 2, if possible, kept separated.
We are not merging the upper 2. I think we're just adding another window for the principal bedroom there. And we have been working with Lockwood Architecture, so this is, a design that they propose while keeping the aesthetics of the building and still bringing, a fresh element to it. So we're just adding new windows. So we're not merging any windows, FYI.
Right, we're just trying to keep as much of the original integrity of at least the street-facing frontage on the architecture intact as part of, we are looking at this whole neighborhood in terms of potential for a historic district. And one of the things that is being, is a common thread is the architectural of this neighborhood. So that's, the more we change, the less it becomes an eligible feature under that premise.
Yeah, I think when they were making the design, and I can't speak on behalf of the architect as to why they went with this. I can only assume they knew it was in the heritage area. They didn't know, I think, we didn't know that it was, proposed to become historic at some point. So I think that's
Would
why.
you be opposed to going back to them and asking them if they could actually retain that look of the upper story? We understand,
absolutely not.
we understand minimizing the other window because of the bathroom, on the interior.
It's purely aesthetics. I'm not fully stuck on it either.
Okay.
They thought it would be a more modern look. It's like a mix. It was a mix of retaining the elements of the home and just adding more lighting for the principal bedroom there.
I don't know how the
And
rest of the commission
my
feels.
call was let's see what you guys say about it. I did see the email that it didn't fit with the working class look of the neighborhood, which I wasn't exactly clear what that meant. I do have some pictures of neighboring properties, and they were a mix of layouts, so it wasn't as cohesive. But it's up to you guys. You can pass these around if you want. And they're marked homes to the left, home to the right, and the 2 homes across the street. Yeah, so there were, a little mixed designs there.
One question, I see, that you had put the decorative element up in the attic. Is there a reason why the attic window was removed? Or is that even a window? Is it a vent up there? The original square window up in the attic?
And your question is, in the designs, we're keeping that. There.
It's not, so the blue house here that you have in this visual doesn't have it in it, but this is just a concept. This is not what the house is ultimately going
Yeah,
to.
that is more the color,
It's
color
for
scheme of the
color
Hardy
reference.
back
So
and
this-
forth.
Okay,
so this
so
is
it is
keeping it.
staying, that window.
Yes, that
Oh,
window is
okay.
staying. Yeah, that was more color.
I was just
color
curious
scheme.
as to why that would have been taken out, because based on this.
No, that's just a color sample.
Yeah.
The elevations here show what they're keeping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So Sue, I guess my question to you is, one of the houses that he passed around has two windows that are side by side, similar design. What he's proposing is adding the third one and kind of expanding that out, which is a similar concept. I don't know where the pictures are that just went around the table.
Without the shutters.
So without that, is that a negative against it trying to go toward the historic? If a house currently already has two and is going to three?
I don't know it's necessarily, and I wouldn't know if it's a negative, but it does change the context of if the architecture is going to be the basis of the determination of eligibility, then the context of the architecture has changed.
Got it, okay.
So it would no longer maybe be considered a eligible property. It might be downplayed to more just contributing, but I don't know what it would contribute at that point.
So I guess ultimately the question is there, in keeping everything else in the design as it is and going back to them and saying, can we drop the addition of the third window in that cluster, if that's possible?
Oh, of
Is
course.
that a make or break of the
No,
project?
absolutely not. And that was, yeah, it's not a big
In
deal.
keeping it that, I feel like that black and white and that simple, I think ultimately everything else is beautiful and this property is going to be very happy. But to what Sue is saying is like, ultimately is the question, if the question's going back to them and saying, hey, can we just not add that and change the street facing side of the building to modify it in that manner, is it possible to just be able to move forward without that change?
It is absolutely possible.
Okay. Okay. So do I,
Yes. You're doing
Great.
good.
thank you. So do I hear a motion to approve this as a type 2 action under seeker?
Motion, Kevin.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Mike.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions, comments, concerns on that one? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Do I hear a motion, bear with me, to approve the replacing of the windows, potentially negating the addition of the middle window to the two on the front-facing side of the house, replacement of the roof, siding, rebuilding of the porch and soffit, and addressing foundation issues as needed? Do I hear a motion on that?
Janet Moore, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second, Mike.
That motion's on the floor. Any additional questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Now we're going into joint ones, I guess, right?
Maybe I'll take the lead here since they just approved. All right. Historic Landmarks Commissioners, we're
Just before we start, there's a bunch of decision documents going around, so just make sure that they get back here.
next on the agenda is 95 Wirtz Street. Is someone here on that application? Evening. sit down, please introduce yourself and give us a quick overview.
How are you? Good to see you. My name is, well, let me sit down first. Hi, Jenna, how are you?
Good, Paul, how are you?
Good. My name is Paul Bankert, and I purchased this house at 95 Wirt Street this past July. It was somewhat unoccupied for a very long period of time. I'm turning into a 2-unit house, which it was previously, and went through the building permit process, and then, you know, on the building permit, I put down that I was putting in electric, you know, split units for heating and cooling, and they never asked me where I was putting them. And then after they were installed and are still installed, they said that one was in the wrong spot, or can be seen from the street. So I'm happy to build a fence. I'll do whatever you want me to do, but I don't really want to move it since it's already installed.
All right, so,
And then there's another, I'm putting in a walkway too, so we're kind of hoping to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here while I'm here.
okay. Now, if I'm following the installation is kind of edge on to the street, but you would see it as if you were walking or driving by.
If you're walking by the driveway, I bought a survey that I had done. You're welcome to look at it. There's not-
That'll help folks. I think we have a photo behind you.
Yeah, right here.
So
Yeah.
it's a little hard to see because my trailer's there. The driveway actually belongs to the house on the right, or let's say 80% of the driveway. You know, as seems like a lot of houses I own in Kingston have split driveways. So, if you see the little bump out there, my property more or less ends right on that edge. So you can see the split unit. It's, you know, I could easily put in probably a 2.5 to 3 foot fence of some sort to hide it view from the street, which I'm happy to do.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to glance at the survey.
Yeah, that may be helpful just to get a sense of where things are.
I'm sorry it's a
Thank you.
little large, but
Hey,
that's what they all are, I guess.
Yep, that's reasonable. And the walkway is not shown there. I'm guessing if I'm facing the building, it's just a little further to the left.
It's to the left side of my building, on the side between my building and St. Peter's Church.
Okay. And it's...
And right now, it's a dilapidated, you know, broken bluestone, just a mess. I sent Sue pictures. I'm not sure if she has them via text, so I have them as well.
They're up on the screen behind you.
Yeah.
So, and I want to put in a stamped concrete with a bluestone stamp. So essentially, it's going to look like bluestone, but it's not going to be bluestone.
All right.
It'll be a remarkable improvement over what's there.
Paul, are there any salvageable pieces of bluestone? It's hard to tell some.
I told my guy to put some salvageable in the back, unless you guys want them from somewhere.
Well, what I was thinking is the front walkway along the street is in disrepair. And I would like to see that the good pieces of bluestone that are taken out be put in the walkway along the street.
Okay.
And repair that walkway.
I was planning on doing that. I wasn't planning on doing it right away. As you can imagine, this is, you know, the costs are skyrocketing on this. I was hoping to recoup a little money first, but that was one of the things I was planning on doing.
Yeah, I think that's...
You know, within the next year probably, and I'm happy to agree to that somehow if you want.
Okay. Then they would just need to be picked up and set aside so that they are not destroyed. And then
Yeah, I'll
that's
put 'em
the
in the
intent to
backyard.
use them. But I'd like to see them put, you know, in the public, you know, and repair
The
that.
front walkway, the bluestone is actually in okay shape. The problem is the tree on the you know, on the roadside is pushing up the bluestone. So that needs to be taken out, some roots cut and.
There was one picture that kind of showed the front walkway. I think it was maybe one of the ones with the unit. If you look at the AC unit ones.
Right, you can see one, yeah.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the sidewalk if you look at the AC unit ones.
Okay, yeah, the one is, yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot of
I'm
the,
gonna throw them away, so if it's easier to put down a
I would
solid piece,
prefer,
I'll be
yeah,
happy
I
to
mean,
do that.
that's my recommendation is that they be used for the public walkway repair.
Okay,
And that, you know, for that, you would just need to get the DPW permit to do the work in the sidewalk, the area,
okay.
okay? But
Yeah,
that
I'm
would
happy
be
to
my,
do that.
that would be my recommendation to the commissions.
Yeah.
There, you can see it now up there.
Yeah, it's great when we can keep that as part of the city. So
Yeah,
thanks.
to be honest, I was considering doing this, cement walkway and getting rid of it, but I didn't think that would go over well. So
We agree.
I've lived in this. I haven't lived in the city in 25 years, but I grew up 2 blocks from here. I'm well aware of how Kingston likes things done.
So do folks have a sense of, do we want to give any direction on the screening? I see that there's trellis work beneath the porch. Is that going to stay?
Yeah, and it'll probably be repaired slightly. I think it's in slight disarray. I was thinking, certainly not a stockade fence. To be honest, since it's such a small area, I was thinking I'd just make something out of 6 by, or 8
You
inch
thought it would
pine
be
boards
solid, or
some-
did you want it to be?
I think solid would be better than lattice, because you're still going to be able to see it through lattice. I just assume that's what you folks would want.
May I make a suggestion? This is
Sure.
Andrea Putz. You could also do some vegetation there too, something like an arbor.
It'd be a little hard
No-go?
because it's on a blacktop driveway. So,
you
we could dig into the blacktop, sure.
You don't have to dig in, you could just put a planter box there too. Yeah, if you're interested in that idea. I'm always up for more vegetation as opposed to a solid fence.
I guess I'm fine with either, really. I can't imagine my cost being much different either way, but I'm just more, I think the fence would block it better. So whatever guidance you give me, I'm happy to do. I can go to Home Depot and probably buy a nice big bush for a couple $100, and that would be fine. It'd be very easy. It'd be easier than digging I'm going to have to get a sonotube. I'm going to have to stick a 4x4 into the driveway, so that's not going to be the easiest thing. But whatever the preference is, I'm happy to do.
I'm happy with the planter box if other commissioners are as well.
I was going
Yeah.
into that thought process
So,
too.
how wide? 2 feet wide? 3 feet wide?
What's the depth of your mini split, the condenser out there?
I don't think it's more
Roughly.
than 18 inches, 18 to 20 inches. Probably,
Yeah, it's
something
very
like
narrow.
that.
It's narrow. You're probably about 18.
Yeah.
So something about 2 feet, 2 feet wide to 3 feet wide if you want to do maybe a pair of arborvitaes. This is a suggestion, not the determination.
What did you suggest? I'm not a plant guy, so don't.
It's something called an arborvitae. It stays green all year round.
Okay, how do you spell that? A-R?
A-R-B-O-R. I think it's V-I-T-A-E. That's the Latin.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah, they do sell them at Home Depot. They come in a variety of sizes. You can also get them at Augustine, I believe, as well. So there's a bunch of resources. They're very plentiful around. Yeah, you could give that a shot, or I would suggest maybe something that stays green all year round.
Yeah, I don't want any maples.
No, 100%. Yeah, and I know this, the condenser will need a breathe air room, around it for serviceability as well as for lack of a better term, breathing space around the unit. So it will need a buffer, of airspace. So you can, if you build
I was planning on putting the fence and/or the vegetation in front of it.
Yeah.
To block it. So
No,
there'll be
I
space
agree.
to the side.
Right. I would just say,
Put it a foot outside of it or something?
I think it needs to be around 3 feet in space going this direction. Does that make sense?
I guess it does, but
I would just double check the clearances around
Okay.
the condenser. That's all I would suggest.
And to be honest, if it is a planter, I can probably move it easier than I could a fence.
Yeah, you don't want it right up
If I
against
did need
the
access
unit
to it, it's
because you do want,
relatively easier
right,
to move the planter over than it is to
right.
move a
You need
stick
access. Yeah.
fence. Okay. So,
All right, any further questions from an HLPC member? All right, yes.
if requested of such, I will, yes.
It's in the,
Okay.
it's in the P&A.
Right, just
Okay.
to blend in with the brick.
Yeah, that's relatively easy. Eventually I plan on painting the whole house, but that's, a
And
couple
at
years
that
down
time,
the
we'll
road.
be asking you to, again, use the same color that you want to
Yeah,
use on
it'll be
the
very
rest of the
similar.
house.
I'm not, it matches the house to the right and it matches the church to the left, so.
Sounds good. All right, then I move that our commission find as fact that the proposed, seeker. I will entertain a motion that we declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Andrea Pute, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Kevin McAvoy.
Thank you, Kevin. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I also vote yes. Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
All right, thank you. And I move that the commission find as fact that the proposed installation of heat pumps at 895 Wart Street in the Rondout Historic District by owner Paul Benkert, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. New York State SHPO holds that on its building structure form for 95 Wart Street, created by Friends of Historic Kingston in October of 1966, and states the following. This Second Empire residence appears on the 1870 Beers map of Rondout. Judging from the 1858 French map, it replaced an earlier structure. It retains its original 19th century features and has received no major modern alterations. It's one of the more notable residences of its style in our district. There's only one small unit mounted on the side and set back from the roadway, making it minimally visible from the street. The applicant will provide a planter box approximately 2 feet by 2 feet using arbor vitae or another evergreen shrub to assist with screening the installation from view. The pipe casing will be treated to match the existing color of the main structure. The applicant will replace the broken bluestone pathway along the dwelling's south side with a stamped concrete dyed to match the original bluestone, and then save the bluestone, the usable bluestone along that pathway and make it available to repair the public sidewalk with that bluestone. Just a quick hint, you do need a DPW permit to do that swap. Any changes or additions to the plans and or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to additional work being carried out. The commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 6th day of April, 2023, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein, and in his application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Do I hear any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Thank you. Hang on, there's more.
This is the easy part. Are there any additional questions before I make a motion from the Heritage Area Commission?
Do we have to do a seeker too?
Yes.
Yeah. My only question, if we put a planter, you said that that's your neighbor's driveway, it doesn't impede them in any fashion? It
Well,
doesn't,
I own probably about 20% of that driveway.
okay.
On my property. So the planter will be, it'll be on my property.
There's no
I
turf
may
war
be-
about your planter?
I may be purchasing the house in a year or so anyway next to it, where the lady that I bought this off owns that one as well. So we're talking about she's getting older and may want to get rid of it, so it's possible I'll own them both in a year or so, but
But
we'll
it's-
see. But I don't now.
It's
So-
a
but
non,
it won't
it's a
interfere.
non-issue to put a planter box in
non-issue.
that place, cool. So do I hear a motion from a Heritage Area Commission member to
Recognize.
recognize this, thank you, as a type 2 action under seeker?
So moved, Kevin.
Do I hear a second?
Nettie Morano, second.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Do I hear a motion to approve the changes and the planter to block the unit on the side of the building, as well as everything explained by the Historic Landmarks Preservation Committee, as presented tonight for 95 Word Street.
So move. Nettie?
So moved by Nettie, second by Michael. That motion's on the floor. Any other questions or comments on that one? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Next,
just to be clear, obviously I have to do all this before that I can close. Something triggers, not that I'm not going to do it, but I'm saying when I go to get a CO, they're going to check with you to make sure.
Yes. Yes.
Just to make sure I got that. Thank you. I'm probably 3 months away anyway before CO. So.
next, thank you kindly.
Have a nice day, everybody.
You too. Next up, 5 Beale Street, 8 and 10 Post Street. Is someone here on that project? Oh my, well, I guess you're recusing yourself.
Yeah, just let the record show that Andrea is recusing herself.
Yes, for the record, Andrea Putz is here on behalf of Charlie Blakeman, applicant and owner of 5 Beale Street. So there's a fair amount that has changed in the application since our initial submission. The foremost discovery, I'll just go through really quickly what's actually in the notes here. The foremost discovery is there's a subterranean room, which we suspect to be a root cellar or storage area in the basement, or technically I guess it's the first floor. That was unearthed and still in a very good shape. And that will be incorporated into the program of the building, probably still maintained as storage. It's very low ceiling height, so it's not really occupiable space.
Habitable.
Yes. Occupiable by items, but not by humans. Let's see. So on the Beale Street facade, the roof deck, thank you, Kyla, for putting that up. On the Beale Street facade, if you want to zoom in on that, which I believe is the upper left-hand corner, there is an existing roof deck that's there, but it was never meant to be a structural roof deck. So we're going to be removing the railing that's there and just maintaining that as roof and not a walkable surface. Which also cleans up the facade quite a bit. It doesn't make it nearly as busy as it once was. The roof will be redone in an EPDM or a rubber roof. And I believe it's already currently some sort of an EPDM, but it's very dry rotted. Windows all over the building are being maintained. However, they're all being replaced as new windows. However, the grill patterns are changing. I don't know if anybody wants me to go over each individual window as necessary, but they're all outlined in the notations here. Mostly, it's going to be 9/9 as opposed to 6/6 light, in keeping with more of the historic character of the district and what they, I believe, might have originally been.
I was going to say the preservation individual, Jim Monahan, that you're working with, I believe, came up with that recommendation based on his research. They're looking at this property to make it to nominate it to the state and national register. So they've engaged a historic preservation professional to assist with some of the details. And also to help them with the tax credit program. So that's how the change in the grid pattern, I believe, was originated.
Correct. All of the exterior doors will be retained and restored to the greatest extent possible. With again, also on the east elevation here, the storefront windows that are on the lowest level there it's currently all blocked up with vinyl siding. It's not terribly attractive, so we're going to reopen it and install new windows to make it look like a storefront. And the door that's there currently will be retained and reinstalled and restored, of course, after we've installed the storefront system. The storefront system will be wood. It's not an aluminum anything. Everything is wood, or it is wood, excuse me. The porch on the Post Street facade, or the northeast face, I believe that, yes, thank you. That will be retained. Excuse me, the porch will be removed in entirety as it is not an historic aspect of the structure. A new sloped roof canopy with asphalt shingle will shelter the existing door, and a bluestone slab landing will be installed. So that's actually on the opposite side. So it's on the, try the bottom left elevation. Yes, there. So that little door in the simple shed roof that's there, there was an enclosure there originally that was not an historic aspect of the building, so that's going to be removed. It's not in good shape, and just the existing door will remain, but a new canopy will be installed, and just a simple bluestone slab landing is proposed for that area. If you stay on this facade, there is a new dormer that's going directly up above on that face. There's the reason for that installation is to improve the headroom inside the building. Being as the existing stair that's there, it doesn't lend itself to being able to walk up and down the stairs. So alleviating that issue, we're going to install the dormer as well as 3 new picture windows. Yes, not casement windows. You don't really see it from the predominant streets, Post or Abeal Street. It's very minimal impact. Moving on, we have a roof extension and deck on the rear of Abeal Street. So if you go to the elevation to the right of this. Again, this facade you don't see very well from either street, Post or Abeal. The roof deck that's currently there, which is a very low slope roof, is going to be extended down, and it will be extended further, excuse me, and a new sort of covered porch will be installed. And again, the roof that's, the low slope roof that's there will be another rubber roof. Moving on, we have an existing, now you can go back to the Post Street one, which is the elevation above this. The existing porch to the apartment on the Post Street wing will remain. Every aspect of it will be restored with the exception of the lower level. There's currently sort of a loose retaining wall that's there. That whole area under the stair will be opened up so you can actually see the existing door that's there, and it will allow more breathability in that space. It's very enclosed currently. It's not terribly attractive and a little frightening. And then finally, with regard to the site plan itself, we were proposing, I think originally 5 parking spaces, but we've had to remove one due to the discovery of the cellar. It's not safe to park any cars on top of it, so we're going to have to remove 1 parking space to accommodate that. And we are aware that we need to do the lot line deletion submission part, and that is we're working on that. We're in process of that.
Good.
All right, any questions from an HLPC member for this application?
The other side that faces 55 Broadway, we have a lot of vegetation there, right? So that's got to come off? Yeah.
Right, yeah, we're going to alleviate as much vegetation as possible. I believe, it's been a little while, so forgive me. I can't remember if we've proposed, I believe we have proposed some new vegetation, but it will remove any existing vegetation. Certainly that's invasive, that's around the building. And
Yeah, that's encroaching from the neighbor.
correct, yeah.
Mixed use, commercial and residential? Okay.
Yeah, mercantile on the lowest level, and I believe it's a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment on the second floor. Second and third floors.
Okay.
All right, any further questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker.
Motion, Kevin?
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative and note Andrea's recusal. All right. I move that our commission find as fact that the proposed amendments to the renovation and restoration at 5 Abeal Street and 8 and 10 Post Street and in the Rondout Historic District by owner CBSKI Kingston LLC, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in Section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic nature of the district for the following reasons. That the proposed work is to take place at this 5-bay, 1.5-story, circa 1850 house with a gable roof running parallel to Post Street and which appears on the 1858 J.H. French map of Ulster County. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property and in doing so will aid in restoring and preserving the structure. The asphalt siding will be removed. Wooden clapboard siding will be either restored or replaced if necessary. Wood details and trim will be restored and painted. The ground floor storefront will be renovated, new storefront windows to be added, and new wood windows will replace deteriorated and missing windows. Brick will be cleaned and repointed. New windows include 9/9 and 6/6 on the Abeal and Post Street facades as per the plan submitted. The grille patterns on the second-story Post Street windows will be removed. Doors will be retained and restored. The porch on the Post Street wing will be removed and a new sloped roof canopy with asphalt shingles will be added above the door and a bluestone slab landing will be installed. Due to structural issues, the roof deck balcony along the Abeal Street facade will no longer be a balcony but be a roof only. The roof will be EPDM rubber and the handrail feature removed. The second floor door to access will become a window and the space surrounding will be infilled with new siding to match. A new dormer will be added to the second story on the Post Street wing to improve headroom at the top of the stairs and access into 2 bedrooms. It will also include 3 new picture windows. A new larger deck and roof covering will be added in the rear of the Abeal Street wing. The area under the Post Street wing porch will be opened up and a new low-height retaining wall will be built around the perimeter of the porch. Porch columns will rest on this retaining wall. The Commission recognizes a lot line deletion will be needed to be approved by the Planning Board and filed with the county for final occupancy or required cross easements will need to be provided and approved by Corporation Council prior to signature for filing. The structure will be painted Benjamin Moore White Winged Dove number 1457 with white trim. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our Commission prior to additional work being carried out. Our Commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding amended findings of fact, I move that on the 6th day of April, 2023, our Commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the Commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second? Oop, I think Nettie won that race. Thank you, Nettie. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative and note Andrea's recusal.
Yep.
All right, you're on.
Do any members of the Heritage Area Commission have any questions for Andrea? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
Janet Marr, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Mike.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Do I hear a motion to approve the amendments and restoration to number 5 of Beale Street and 8 and 10 Post Street as presented?
Eddie Morano, so moves.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Mike.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions, comments on that one? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
All right, up next, 79-81 and 83 West Union Street. Do we have someone here on that application?
I don't see him here, so let's go to people that are here, and then we can go back to that one.
Okay,
If
do we
that's
need
okay.
to formally table or just?
No, I'll just put it to the side and we'll come back.
All right, then number 9, 3 Rogers Street. Do we have anyone here on that application?
I don't see them either.
Well,
To the big
all right,
fat
moving
ones.
right along to number 10, 18 West Union Street. Do we have it? I see folks rising. Thank you. Please have a seat, introduce yourselves, and give us a quick overview of the project.
My name is John Stewart, and I purchased the property, I guess, a couple of years ago. I first saw it, and I thought, I can't buy that. That's crazy. It's too difficult. And I went home, and then I sort of fell in love with that corner. I just thought that corner was such a marvelous place in Kingston. And as I've joked around in the past, it was sort of a Alfred Hitchcocky kind of looking place, but I wanted to change it and make it nicer without making it too intrusive or, create some big towering something. And so I'm not an architect, and I'm going to hand over these proceedings to Scott here. But I have a lot of affection for that little corner of Kingston. And I'll let Scott explain the project.
Yes, so my name is Scott Rober. I'm the architect on the project. So what we're looking to do is to renovate the existing building, remove the aluminum siding, replace it with new hardy board siding. We're also going to replace all the windows with Marvin Elevate 6/1 double hungs, keeping in the same style window that they have, except for on the second floor, we're going to put in casement windows, and then again on the front of the house. So the house itself, I believe, was built in 1930. It's currently a one-bedroom. I want to say it's 25 by 30 with a 5-foot enclosed porch on the front of the house. So we're looking to remove the porch and create an addition to incorporate that into new square footage for the first floor. The second floor is then going to be added with shed dormers on the front and the back, and a new bedroom and bathroom suite on the second floor.
All right, so the footprint of the building will remain the same, but instead of a porch, it'll be incorporated into the main structure.
So the existing porch is 5 feet. We're going to extend that to, I think, 6.5. So we're growing the front of the house by about 1.5 feet.
Okay. So coming out a little and going up a bunch.
Not really. I mean, we're still working with the same ceiling height. We're making the roof a little bit steeper. The fact that the building's getting deeper, that's going to help to gain a little bit more usable footprint upstairs. But we're still working right off of the eave's going to be coming right off of the existing outside wall.
Okay. Couple of questions. The retaining wall on, I think it's on the east elevation. Am I following that correctly? Is that going to stay as is? Does that need to be pushed or moved at all? Is that on the second photo here, Kyla, or a second rendering?
Currently, John is doing multiple retaining walls that start, I think, from Worth Street up to the back of the property. I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, I'm trying to just envision it. It's hard for me to.
So I think there's some pictures of the existing building as it is now, and that shows the stepped retaining walls.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple of photos that I want Kyla first to put up, and they're the actual photos showing some of the existing conditions, which shows that a lot of the vegetation along the Post Street side has been basically removed. And if you look up behind you, there's the photos that we've took. So that's the existing building up on top. And this is the Post Street side. You see where, and the commissions both reviewed this previously, where the walls were being rebuilt and reconstructed, and that's still taking place, and it looks beautiful. I will say that. You can see more of the stepped type of stonework that's going on there now to the side. So that's the back side. That's where you're going to see the one. You'll see the balcony deck kind of coming off of that rear portion, the red section there. That's where that will come off of. And then what you don't see here, obviously, is that there will be a second story added on that. So it's going to be quite visible and quite high. Probably a nice view from up there.
So the cover sheet should show that perspective in the back. So this is your existing roof line that you can see in that image. The deck here is just going to be basically 1/3 of the rear of the building, and then the roof again is coming off of that same eave line, just slightly steeper. It's going to be, I believe, 7 and 12, which currently right now it's more of a 3 or 4 and 12. But again, it's really the fact that the existing house stops about here, and the roof starts at this point, comes up, and the fact that we're going to be incorporating that porch is going to allow a little bit of additional height. Again, I don't believe in that image that. There's a lot of it's going to be overwhelming, certainly. We're still trying to minimize the impact on the neighborhood.
I mean, there's not a lot with the retaining walls that are being built. They're going to be faced with the blue stone, right? I mean, that's the idea, is to face those retaining walls. That's what the stone sitting up there is for, I'm presuming. Okay, and then, so there's not a whole lot of space to do any real landscaping or anything. I don't know, are you planning where it's tiered back? Are you planning to do some plantings in there, or?
Well, yes, this is sort of a work in progress, but that's my hope, is to incorporate that. At one ill-conceived moment, it was thought that a big sheer face of rock would be exposed, and that didn't happen.
Right.
So, and then one thing after another. So, yes, it's going to be tiered, which actually was my original plan.
Yeah, I heard.
The know-nothing person, that was my hunch, but then it didn't go that way. So, I mean, it did go that way eventually. And so there is room, there is depth to add 2 feet of soil, or 1.5 feet of soil on the lowermost wall. And on the middle wall, there's about 1.5 feet depth of soil, but not the entire width. About half of the width of the second tier will have. And if I can't do that, I'll create, if I can, if it passes whatever test has to be passed, some kind of aesthetically okay planter boxes. I mean, you know, the idea of just having just this sort of a mountain of rock is, I mean, it's very nice, and Kevin, who does this thing, is fantastic. It's beautiful. Especially today, he got to a certain level, and it's just great. But I don't want that to be the totality of the effect on the viewer. It should have green. You know, I want to plant stuff.
Yeah, I think breaking it up with, I'm not saying cover it up, because the work that he is doing is like you said, it's beautiful. He's a very good mason. So, yeah, but just, it would enhance, I think, the whole visual
Definitely
effect.
planning on doing that.
Yeah, and soften it
Before,
a little bit.
It was a hillside of
Mhm.
cane.
Right.
You know, so now it's the
I
opposite
remember what it
way.
looked like.
Very
Yeah.
nice rock, beautiful bluestone work with
Yeah.
with guitars, nice designed concrete behind it.
Right.
But it does need to have to in the middle place now. It needs to have, the rock needs to be not totally secondary, but there needs to be a buffer of greenery to sort of help look at it.
All right, any comments on just the visual impact of the overall design?
I pulled up the blue form. I'll read the statement of significance and architectural importance. This modern residence, which was, they believe it was built around around 1930. It just says mid-1900s on the blue form of the county, says 1930, whatever. Has no architectural or historical significance, but is compatible in scale with its neighboring buildings. Nevertheless, its style and building materials cause it to be a detraction. That's never good, is it?
Whoa, harsh.
So it sounds like what you're doing is causing it not to be a detraction. So there you go. Yeah, you never know what you're going to find in these documents. Yeah.
Glad you made that point.
All right. Any further questions or comments?
I do have one question, actually. The building is currently red. Why are you proposing white?
Well, this meeting was coming up twice. I went through all kinds of things. At first, I thought a darker tone, a woodsy tone, shingles and so forth. But then Scott rightly sort of pointed out that's kind of a New England-y thing. And although I like that very much, and there's more of that clapboard siding here, and I see a lot of white. But I'm not 100% married to white. And in the rendering that you had it's more white than it would be.
Yeah, well, we had looked at some different options. We looked at natural cedar siding, natural cedar shingles on the second floor. But again, I think the concern was how that would weather, and John wasn't sold on the idea. And putting a stain on something like that, he wasn't open to. So we looked at different styles of hardy board, doing, again, the clapboard below and then shingles above. But he felt that once we're painting it the same color below and above, that it didn't really merit putting shingles up above. So we've worked with siding throughout, and again, I think John's put a lot of time kind of driving around the area, trying to figure out what color he envisions this house to be. So
I will say the white is kind of a fallback, tabula rasa kind of fallback thing. And I got some of these samples in the mail after this meeting was set, and there's some different whites that are less sort of Arctic looking that I thought maybe I'd introduce down the road, sort of a softer tone.
You may also find that over time, the softer tone may simply come.
Yeah, I'm feeling that way myself.
All right, any further questions or comments? Yeah. All right, I will entertain a motion that we declare this a type 2 action under seeker.
So moved. Robert?
Thank you, Robert. Do I hear a second?
Second, Nettie Nolan.
Thank you, Nettie. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Okay. I move that Our commission find as fact that the proposed rehabilitation, first and second story additions, the addition of a balcony on the structure's rear, and the creation of an additional apartment unit in the basement level at 18 West Union Street in the Rondout Historic District by applicant Hudson Valley Architecture LLC and owner John Stewart, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. That the proposed work is to take place at the 1.5-story mid-20th century house at the southeastern corner of West Union and Post Streets, where according to the 1870 Beers map previously stood a synagogue. The proposal will include an addition to West Union Street facing side of the structure of 6.5 by 32 feet, which will expand the dwelling's first floor space by approximately 208 square feet. To accomplish this, the applicant will remove a West Union Street facing enclosed porch, which currently features a centralized doorway flanked by 4 1/1 windows on either side. The proposed work will result in a centralized doorway with side lights flanked by 3 6/6 windows on the east and 2 6/6 windows on the west. The first floor of the existing house will be reconfigured on the interior to create a new kitchen, living area, laundry room, and bedroom. We note that the chimney is being removed and 3 new heat pump condenser units are being placed along the walkway on the south elevation. Any exterior line sets will be treated to match the exterior color of the structure. Second story will be added to the dwelling with a single gable combination roof oriented lengthwise toward Post Street. The structure will feature 2 shed dormers on either side of the roof, with the Union Street dormer featuring a centralized 9-pane window flanked by a pair of 9-pane windows on either side. Other exterior upgrades and installations include replacing all existing windows with pebble gray Marvin Elevate Series double-hung casement windows and installing a new roof with lock seam zip system number 16. That's precise. With black gray standing seam roof and using white hardy board for the exterior finish. A new 8x12 elevated deck will be constructed on the east face of the building that will be visible from West Union and Post Streets and adhere to the 6-foot setback required in this neighborhood. Other site elements that will be refreshed include continued stonework and intermittent vegetation. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described in, one more thing I must say, that this will cause a change in the exterior appearance of the structure. We should add that. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to additional work being carried out. The commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding amended findings, nope, these are not amended. These are original findings of fact. It is proposed that and I hereby move, on the 6th day of April 2023, that our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in their application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion.
There was just one correction. I believe on the front facade, the first floor windows are 12 light casements, not 6/6 double hung.
No, I will hereby amend the motion to specify 12 pane casements in lieu of 6/6. Thank you. All right. Is anyone dare second the motion as amended?
Second that.
Ooh, such bravery. Thank you, Robert. All right. Any further discussion?
One question. This is before the planning board, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Oh, okay. So you're going to deal with the stormwater and all that?
Yes.
Okay. No question then.
All right. Hearing no further discussion, I will call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote in to approve. And hang on, there's more.
Mine's easier, though. Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker from a Heritage Area Commission member?
So moved. Kevin.
Do I hear a second?
Janet Mars, second.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Do I hear a motion to approve the proposed renovations and improvements to 18 West Union Street as presented?
So move, Mike.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Nettie Brano.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Thank you. If you could hear a house smile, I feel like this house is like, yes.
Thank you.
Oh, that goes to that. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good night now. Next up, number 11, 100 Wirtz Street. Anyone here on 100 Wirtz, please come on up. If you would please introduce yourselves and give us a quick overview.
I'm Andrew Wright, the architect of record, and this is Gary Hackelman, who is on the board of directors of Circle of Friends. What we, in a nutshell, the Circle of Friends were donated a beautiful house, which they've converted into, I don't know how many of you know what Circle of Friends of the Dying do. It is a non-for-profit that takes two patients or clients at once and gives them a better than hospice way to end life and be with family. So this house was wonderful with all this, it was a beautiful house to work with. So the reason we're here today is the current windows on the house were 6/1s on the front and a variety of different kinds of windows scattered around the back. Windows have been replaced over the years, many years, from the previous family. In our renovation, we found that many of the windows were falling out of the frames. They were just shot. So Gary and his volunteers worked very hard at getting replacements that were as close as possible. They used and Ethan, are you here? How are you? I brought in all kinds of fun stuff. United Windows had a replacement vinyl, which we actually have used uptown on our One North Front Streets and different things, which was a great way to have a low maintenance, good R value window without a problem. Now, I think some issues came up on the windows not being the 6/1s on the sides facing a parking lot of an adjacent church. And then we have not replaced the ones on the front. That's when budget allows will happen. Let's see here.
Andrew, can you just describe the reasoning for replacing the windows versus restoration of the windows?
We have pictures, which I can circulate, that many of the windows had severe water damage over the years. Sills were rotted, the windows were rotted, the sashes were rotted. They had storms on them, but there was still a lot of damage. So in the sashes that couldn't be rebuilt are the ones that were replaced, and a lot of the sills that could be fixed in place were fixed in place and restored as one. In other words, they were a pine sill, we put back a pine sill. On the upper frames, just a lot of paint coming off, peeling off. Mostly it was the sills that got hit hard. And so they've been slowly restored as money allows and put back. They are painted the same color. We've even gone after taking the shutters that were there. They weren't on all windows, but they were there, and they're restoring them one at a time, trying to put them back, especially on the street elevation and as you turn onto the side elevation. One thing that's very important to note is the side elevation, although it can be seen, not much of it can be seen from the street. And so, that's why, and this, you may not know, but there are 6 windows on this side which are 1/1s. You can't see them. Now, we even thought, okay, that's a summer shot. This is today. It's still very hard to see. But we're all on the same page that the front and the immediate turn on the side should be maintained as a 6/1, and it will be. I actually drove up and down Word Street, and I had a hard time finding anything but 1/1s on just about every house up and down that entire street. Mostly have been replaced over the years. So we're here tonight to try and somewhat right or wrong in the sense that there were windows put in on this side which were 6/6. The manufacturer United had a hard time with 6/1. We were trying to keep budgets and time, and this is not an easy thing to do when you're putting together a group like this. So in essence, on some of these where we might ask for forgiveness for getting approval, which is what we should be doing. Anyway, the idea is that on this project, it's very hard to, I don't know how many of you work on
So
non-for-profits.
I looked at the photos that you sent around, and a lot of the circled areas are really the framing of the windows.
Right.
It's not the window unit
But these
itself.
sashes that
So
were
is that being
shot-
restored, and then the new window units are being put in?
The ones that had to be replaced, the frames were completely shot, and I did not get specific photos of those, Ethan. I put together what I could today. The glass was falling out of the frames. To rebuild the frame was very expensive, and so it was going to be hard
So
to.
the frame and everything is being totally replaced
Right,
on all of these?
right.
Okay,
And it made
that's what I
sense.
wanted to know.
We also thought it'd be good if you have a good insulated window put in place that emulates what was there, then you don't need the storms and the screen systems that which were falling off and had caused additional damage to the windows.
Do you have an idea of how old those windows are that are in there now?
A variety. I mean, some of them, there's
They don't
one-
look like they're all original. That's why I'm asking if you have any
They're-
sense of where they
Not really.
maybe 50s or 60s?
There are, in the front facade, probably half of those windows, and it may be just one sash, is an original piece of glass. You can see it's wavy. But then as you go into the back, most windows have been replaced in the last 40 years.
The last how many?
At least over the 40 years, they were wood replacement windows. Like the 4 in the kitchen, or 3 in the kitchen, which are 1/1s, were probably put in, I would say, within the last 20 years. In the back sides, which you can see from the street, there was a variety of replaced windows. Some are still original. Well, those that were falling out and falling apart have been replaced with 1/1s to just basically give as much light as possible. So I think that, like for instance, on this facade, I know specifically this one lower window is probably original, and it's in good shape. It'll eventually be replaced at some point in the future, and it will be a 6/1. But it's this one had glass replaced. As I recall, Gary, on this one, this is upstairs.
Correct, on the corner.
I think the bottom was a mess, but the top was still, the storm was still holding,
The
wasn't it?
storm was holding. We did a lot of work on trying to reglaze. Our problem is that most of our volunteers are between 50 and 75 years old. We did get somebody to donate scaffolding, and then everybody's husband and wives told them, no.
You're not going up
You're
there.
not going up there.
This is an organization that is truly from the heart.
Volunteer.
Did you ever reach out to any of the local historic preservation individuals and ask if they might volunteer some time to the project to see if?
A lot of different, we probably had over 50 volunteers working on.
No, but I'm
but
asking,
Not
yeah,
any,
did you do any outreach at all specifically for that trade? I mean, I'm just wondering if you've.
No, you did, because Ryan Bradley was working on it, and they had Budaharf's working on it.
right, the Bruderhof.
And they looked at a lot of these things. They were sort of spearheading, because they were volunteering their time, on what they felt was something was salvageable and not. And as you know, there's a certain amount of work you can do on a window when it's rotting out, that if you have to rebuild it, now, can you spend $2,000 to $3,000 a window to get this done correctly and to fit in that frame? Some of these were actually still had the counterweights in them and ropes. That was very rare. Most of them had been put in springs and such. It was a mixed match. This family had the house for how long?
The family who donated the house, it was 5 or 6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the family before Beverly, I don't know how long Beverly.
Somebody had been there a long time.
I think Beverly was there a long time.
Right. So, I've got copies.
The shutters are wood. When we inherited the house, the second floor of the garage was filled with shutter pieces. We probably have 300-400 pieces left after rebuilding about a dozen shutters. We'll continue rebuilding. Like, we have a guy that only comes up to answer your question, and as it pertains to the shutters, we have a guy who, his name is Zeph, and he comes up with a van from Florida every summer and works down at the Ferry Museum and at Circle of Friends. And he was rebuilding shutters this past summer.
Good.
Great. Why vinyl?
We found that this is a group that doesn't have a huge maintenance budget. And to find a product that'll and there's also heating and cooling was a problem. So we looked at it, we do a lot of sustainable architecture around the country, and it's the tightest product you can get put in with the least amount of maintenance. In other words, I've done, on my One North Front building, I put wood windows back in, I took vinyl out, because we were trying to bring back that building uptown back to its original, which is what I'm passionate about. But there I have the maintenance budget to maintain those. As you know, wood windows have to be worked on a lot, especially big ones. In this case, it didn't make a lot of sense to put a burden on this group that couldn't possibly maintain as volunteers come and go. I know that's sort of a weird answer, but there's the practical as well as the aesthetic, which had to be considered.
Did you consider aluminum or metal-clad wood? That is similar, I'm
as
told.
you know, metal-clad wood gives you trouble over time. Wood swells. As you know, that with aluminum, it's also reacts faster to temperature expansion contraction than vinyl. It's this is, and it's also the cost. The aluminum ones are about 40% more than the vinyl, and then the wood clads are about another 10% over that. So again, I was working closely with what the limitations the clients had, but keeping as much of the aesthetic as possible, because this is a very tough business, as you know. So again, as I said early on, it's not so much that we're more here hat in hand trying to say we did this approach or they did this approach, and we're trying to explain it to this board. There were options, many options, but it's whether they could afford to do it.
How did things shake out with the Daughters of the American Revolution?
They have not completed their application yet. They're still working. It's very similar.
In that respect, it is. It's a less prominent building in its zone.
Mark, if I may, I would make an argument that if the windows that are extant in the building are less than 50 years old, theoretically, you could replace them with a vinyl or a metal-clad wood instead of just all wood replacements.
But we
As
don't
opposed
know
to-
for sure the age.
That is
There
true.
would have to be more research on the windows.
It appears that they are replacement windows too, and I get that the frames themselves are the wood frames, the original wood frames are starting to rot. The replacement windows that are in the extant frame are obviously replacements. Those are a mishmash of different materials, it seems like. Am I right?
There's, the whole house has a variety of replacements over the years and repairs, and we found a buried door behind the vinyl siding.
That's
Or it's really
typical.
not vinyl, it's just when it went from metal to vinyl product. We're not quite sure what it was that the house is clad in right now. It's not the original siding. The shutters were put back on. I think for a practical standpoint, usually I've done tons of historic restorations around, and the thing that's most prominent that Susan pointed out, which is very important, is what do you see from the street? And will the street facade maintain the integrity of its historic, original manner? We didn't touch any of the windows on the facade. They will have to be updated. They will have to be redone. It's a matter of time and money. Once you go around the side, which is on the parking lot, I was pointing out earlier, it was very important that those windows in the back, which have sort of been the issue on the table, you really can't see very well from the street. You have to go onto the property to look at them, whether you're around. Whereas the ones on the corner, though, let me get my little photos, hang on.
So,
Those are.
wait,
and
did
they
you,
should be-
did you
they
just
should be
say that
maintained.
you're not touching the windows in the front?
We're going to eventually, but apparently, there's only so much
Okay.
money. The money has been spent, so this cannot be done. But what we have agreed to in the middle is that if they're replaced, as they're replaced, they will be 6/1. They will be in compliance with what's existing.
Okay, so
try
for
to
the
maintain those.
front windows, then, we're not really making a decision tonight, because you're not going to replace those, that's what you're saying?
Not at this point. They
Okay,
eventually
all
will
right,
have
so
to
we're
be.
focused on the side windows.
Right.
Okay, so that was something I did not understand. I thought the
But they're
front
going to
windows were
be-
going to be replaced.
They're going to have to be because they leak.
Okay,
and
but
there's
we can
just
take
no
them
money
off
to
the
do it.
table tonight. So we're looking at the side windows.
The side windows, second floor, rear side, where the resident rooms are. This is a comfort home for 2 residents at a time who have 6 to 12 weeks left
Okay.
to live, and keeping the temperature and the chill out of the rooms.
Just to give you a visual, and I have a plan. This is the side, as photographed today. These windows you can see, but these are the windows right here in the back, which where the residents stay, where they had to replace them, and they put in what was a 6/1, they put in a 6/6. And
I tend to agree.
so these were what actually got this issue on the table to come to you. Again, these that come around the front will eventually be replaced, and then we could probably make a separate application as it comes apparent.
We have
Yeah.
some
think-
thoughts.
Yeah, I find it easier to go with vinyl along the side because it's much less visible, and we're most interested in the streetscape. I would ask when the time comes that you do a bit more research and dig into how old the windows are. Are they can they be restored? You know these questions as well as we.
Yes, it's a, yes. Actually, if anyone can find a wonderful donor, we could get to it right away, but it's very difficult in this time. But please go on.
It's the nature of, it's going to be person by person and step by step. We understand that. But having clarified that the windows we're talking about are very unlikely to stand out from the streetscape, that allows us to have a bit more flexibility.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions? Any comments? Yes.
I'm a little uncomfortable with that because doesn't it set up all kinds of other problems? I mean, for this property, and believe me, I'm all for you guys, but what happens when we have, like another instance like we had last fall or whatever?
Visibility is, I think, a key and prominence of, I have to recuse myself from the DAR application because I own property nearby, but it's, we have in the past made a differentiation between what is clearly visible from the street, and especially back windows. And in this case, given the setting and construction, most of these side windows are really not visible from the street to passersby.
Yeah, so let me ask you, so the 6 over 6 have been put in?
They were put
so
in.
It's basically, we did this.
That's why I'm here with hat in hand. Plus, on that facade, Robert, there is a bunch of 1/1s that were put in 10, 15 years ago. It was sort of already a compromised facade. Not that that's an excuse, but just to, I totally understand and agree that the front facade is a beautiful house. And as you turn the corner, as you can see what it's all about, that should be a 6 over 1. And I've actually volunteered my time to this organization to make sure that it stays that way. And there was also on this application about the stoop. So, Susan, are we going to address
the stone steps?
Yeah, we had one step getting up on there, which were very, very high, and so we did in the same material 2 steps and put railings so that people could get in and out. And then there was the bluestone sidewalk had a 1-inch lip where we'd like to level it out so that nobody trips. Those were 2 other portions of this application. Susan was gracious enough to let us put it all in one application.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, this is all about trying to, I'm 65, I'm not getting younger, so I was very appreciative of those 2 steps.
All right. Any questions regarding the stonework or anything else that we haven't covered already? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to declare this a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
So moved, Andrea Putes.
Thank you, Andrea. Do I hear a second?
Second, Kevin.
All right, Kevin, I think won that. Nettie, nice try. And any discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Robert? Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. I move that the commission find as fact that the proposed installation of signage, window replacement, front step and door restoration, HVAC installation and front door and window shutter painting at 100 Worth Street in the Rondout Historic District by owner Circle of Friends for the Dying, Inc., if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in Section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. That The proposed work is to take place at the 2.5-story residence on the northeast side of Wirtz Street, between Rogers Street and West Pierpont Street, dating to around 1850, and is present on the 1858 French and 1870 Beers maps of the area, and which was renovated in the mid-20th century to conform with the colonial revival style. That windows on the side and rear will be replaced with new vinyl 6/1 windows consistent with the structure's current style and with some of the neighboring structures, and shutters will be repainted in Benjamin Moore Essex Green HC-188. The front entryway door will be painted Benjamin Moore Classic Burgundy HC-182. The Wirtz Street entry has been reset with an additional step constructed of bluestone materials to match existing, and new safety metal handrails are installed. A heat pump condenser is located atop the driveway portico entryway and will be screened by white lattice work. Installation of a 7-inch circular sign affixed to the front portico's column will identify the building's name and occupancy. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. Commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding amended findings of fact, nope, that's
I know.
original. And also, we need to add the statement that it will
I already wrote that in here.
okay, it will change the appearance of the structure. Thank you. It is, I hereby move that on this 6th day of April, 2023, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just, Andrew, just so you know, I did a little bit of research on the property, on the title to it. It was St. Peter's owned it, actually.
St. Peter's?
Yeah, there's a deed, yeah, it's referenced from 1966. And then, so it was sold from St. Peter's to a private buyer in 66. They sold it to Vladimir in 1980, who sold it to Victoria, and you can follow the rest of it from there.
Wow, it's like this building used to belong.
So the key dates are 66 and 80, and then the early.
So St. Peter's built it
2000.
originally, you think? Was it like a parish house, or?
We could do that another time. I don't think
Because
time's going to allow
it's rather
that.
gracious for a parish house. It's like, but that's very, and I also want to get copies of I love the way you do your research. It's very good. Because, this property we're on belonged to the O'Neill family. When we tried to buy it from the city when it was abandoned, the O'Neills had the right to come back and claim it from 1875. So, yeah, you got to watch those deeds very carefully.
Very true.
Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye, but I don't think we had a second for the motion.
I was the move-in,
Right,
and
but I don't think-
Robert was the
Yeah,
second.
Robert seconded.
Okay, my bad. Aye, anyway.
Thank you. Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also agree. Thank you. Best of luck with this project. I think it's
There's still another vote.
Stand by, hold on, one more quick one. Heritage Area Commission, do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
Janet Moore, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Mike,
Ronald, second.
let Nettie have that one.
That motion's on the floor. Any further discussion or debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie? Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Do I hear a motion to approve the installation of signage, window replacement, front step and door restoration, HVAC installation, and painting front door and window shutters as presented tonight for 100 Wirtz Street?
Janet Moore, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Mike, second.
That motion's on the floor. Any further debate or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Now you're good. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Good night.
Andrew, there were 2 parcels. Yeah, on the deed, so this needs a little more research to verify that it didn't come from, initially
Yeah.
from Adams and not from St. Peter's, okay? So just so we're clear. Yeah.
All right, number 12, 89 John Street. Dr. Lippert, I think I recognize you. Please come on, have a seat, and introduce yourselves and give us a quick overview.
Thank you for having me. My wife Dara.
Hi, Dara. All right, if you'd give us a quick overview of the plans.
Well, yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, you go.
We won't buy it.
So we're renovating property in order to create a space for kind of my husband's retirement home upstairs.
Can you just move the mic a little closer to you? I'm sorry, just so it picks up on the recording. Thank you.
We're currently renovating the property, and we've gotten to the point where we want to change the exterior color of the structure. It was originally approved last time by whatever the Heritage Area Commission was called then in the 90s. And we're not enchanted with the blue anymore. No. In addition to the modifications to the color, we want to repair the soffits, the fascia boards, and the box gutter sheaths at this time. And we also want to add some architectural details, switch out the lights. I'd like some baskets on the upper level for me to have plants out during the summer. We had a large green bush that Central Hudson didn't like out front because they couldn't read the meters. So we removed that, and I'd like that to make that into a pad area. So I can stick my husband out there to say hello to people and get him out of my hair upstairs. And then do some in front. We've also had somebody cleaning up the property in general and back, but we're not quite ready with the landscaping plan in back. We've had some estimates on it, but that's not part of this proposal at this time. Are there any questions?
Yeah, do any HLPC members have questions about the proposal?
The building is over 100 years old, and it's a brick building, masonry. When the previous owner took it over, the paint was falling off the bricks at that time. That was in 96. And that was James Matthews, the lawyer. Now, he went to great degrees and extremes to find the proper paint. He went to Cornell, and they have a paint thing where they can match it up with an ancient paint or whatever. So he did that, and in an attempt to match the color that he had bought the house that it came with.
The pale yellow.
Yeah, pale yellow, which actually looked like somebody voided on the property. So,
you know, you're broadcasting out, so.
only adults here. So anyway, at that point, I came before the board, and I wanted to make it a bright yellow as opposed to this awful paint color. And mostly the decision was that it wasn't in keeping with the times to do a bright yellow, and that we would be better doing something a little bit more harmonious with the other buildings around us. So that's where we got into blue, and there was also a black trim.
See, he's been complaining about this for 20 years, and I I just said we're no longer interested in blue. It's all right.
And having personally known both Jim Matthews and Bob Greco, this is a story I know. And good luck with the carpeting upstairs. Oh my God.
We now have black and white.
Wow, that.
Tile, and we replaced we had really psychedelic.
Oh yeah, we're talking bright purple, yellow. I looked it up once. It was called Moonshot.
Psychedelic 1970s bathrooms with the wavy wallpaper.
Yeah.
In lime green. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gone, and it's now an Art Deco black and yellow.
Luckily, we have nothing to say about the interior.
I know. So it's happening, and we're like.
I have noted the interior there for many years. So I think you've made a huge step in the right direction.
Now we have tin ceilings, black and white tile on the floor, and an Art Deco bathroom.
Oh yeah,
And
those old drop ceilings
I'm
are
going to the arts
gone.
and crafts on the outside and trying to throw in some of my Acadian roots, a little bit of Montreal with the iron touches. So that's where we're heading in this direction. Yeah.
All right, ça
Nice.
c'est bien. Okay, any other questions or
Well,
comments?
I'm going to throw you guys a ringer.
Uh-oh.
Based on the conversation. In renovating upstairs and experiencing the front room that's going to be our living room, there is a lot of ambient sound coming through the windows, and their condition is not very good. They're the original 6x6s. The structure has a whole mixture of different types of windows. I think that they're original to it, but they're single pane, and one has a bullet hole glass in it, and the other, the wood, I think is beyond saving through just hardening the wood. The middle one looks okay. Many of the other windows in the structure have survived in much better condition because they had custom-built storms on them, but those are very large sheets of just one pane over another, which I would be hesitant to build for the front of the building where people are walking. And although I don't plan to utilize it, I would like to amend this application to possibly include 3 6x6 Marvin wood on the outside, wood on the inside, modern 2-pane windows with argon, of course, in there for the sound and for the wind issues that we're having.
Two things I would ask you to do is provide a cut sheet of what you want from Marvin.
This is the one that we've ordered for the one back window that has completely failed.
So that's the one in back, but not the ones in front.
So far, the ones in front are not part of the application. And again, if this comes back, Marvin is the only one that will do wood on the inside and the outside and guarantee it. They also have a grid profile which more accurately matches the thin muddins that held up a single pane glass. I mean, you can't produce that thin a muddin on the double pane these days because it won't hold up 2 sheets of glass. So you have to kind of go for a simulated divided light look. It's a true simulated divided light, not a true divided light, but it's not those.
All right. I'm just going to make one statement here because rather than talk about the windows, it was not advertised as part of an application. So theoretically, we would need to put it on the agenda again. We can authorize, like we did with the Fair Street project, maybe authorize the work that's been presented, hold the project open for the windows, and then have you submit additional information to support the condition and that. Yeah, and then that way it would get advertised so people in the public would have an opportunity if someone chose to speak about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
I'd have to go through this all again, whether it just can't be an amendment and decision.
Yeah. Right. But we can keep this application open. Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would exactly go with the simplistic, but I thought about all that. How we can, make it cuter. But I'm not hearing any major changes. So when I see that window coming back, and if I like it and think it actually matches the profile of all the rest of them, I'll make a new application.
Okay.
That would be best. Thank you. Can we hang on to this in the meantime and tuck it in the file, or do you want it back?
That's part of the application, right?
Okay.
We have that, but this is the back window, right? So this has already been submitted.
Ah,
Mhm.
Glasses, which you can hear anything through and are just, you can feel the cold every day. The price that we got to just rebuild the single pane glass, where we would still have to build something to make it energy efficient.
Right, on the inside.
As opposed to a brand new Marvin that is meant to look historically correct as possible and is energy efficient. It's still pricey to get an all wood, but that's under $14. So that's the price that you're talking about in rebuilding.
Mhm.
Trying to find something that is energy efficient and looks historic.
all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Any further questions, discussions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker.
Andrea Pute, so moved.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote aye. All right. I hereby move that the commission find as fact that the proposed restoration of wooden features in kind, restoration of brick and mortar in kind, repainting the brick structure, replacing exterior light fixtures, creation of a patio area with raised planting bed in the front yard, and installation of wrought iron flower boxes beneath second-story windows at 89 John Street in the Stockade Historic District by owners Raymond Lippert, MD, and Tara Trahan. Am I saying that right? Thank you. If done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in Section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. That the proposed work is to take place at the 2.5-story, 3-bay house situated on the north side of John Street, closer to the intersection of Green Street, dating to the mid-19th century. The Friends of Historic Kingston's building structure inventory form, dating from July 1987, records the following information. It was probably built as an income property by the family of one-time Ulster County Sheriff John Kerr, who owned the corner of John and Green Streets. 89 John Street was part of the same parcel of land until at least 1894. The first occupant of 89 John Street was traced to George Gildersleeve, who lived there from 1905 until after 1920. He was treasurer of the Kingston Opera House, and Mrs. E. Gildersleeve also operated a boarding house in the building during this period. By 1930, Joseph Mould, a clerk at the Ulster and Delaware Railroad, and I.M. Tapping, a nurse, lived in that house. From 1940 until after 1960, Asa Countryman, a city employee, and Mrs. R.E. Countryman, who apparently rented out furnished rooms, were occupants of 89 John. In 1974, S. James Matthews, attorney, was listed occupant, and in 86, he and the Ulster County Sanitation are listed at the address. All woodwork, brickwork, doors, and rear window will be replaced in kind. The structure will be painted in a tritone scheme by Sherwin-Williams. All brick will be Raycroft Copper Red, SW2839, soffits, gable trim, lintels, sills, and other wooden inserts beneath windows will be Renwick Beige, SW2805. Windows and rake will be Tricorn Black, SW6258. Iron window flower boxes will be installed on the second story. A brick patio with a raised flower bed will be constructed in front, and light fixtures will be replaced with Capital Lighting Fixtures Carriage House 15-inch high outdoor wall lantern 9726BK black with dimensions 8 by 15 by 9.5. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to that work being carried out. The commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, we do need to add.
I know that, I got it.
Okay. This will cause a substantial change in the appearance of the property. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 6th day of April 2023, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work described herein and in your application to the commission, such a notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second?
On a second.
Thank you, Nettie. Any further discussion? Question?
Discussion on the motion, yeah. Could I just do one tiny amendment? I found a more expensive carriage lantern that I like, because you specifically listed the type.
Give us the cut sheet. Please pass it around. I will decide if I should accept an amendment to the motion, in which case I'm returning to you for an amendment for the second. Bronze, what do you think?
I'm fine with me. I just want to get the spec on it to add it into the fixture, lighting fixture. Maximum carriages, lamps.
And sorry, Sue, I would have painted.
That's okay. I'm just.
Well, when you return.
Hey, when you can hand the cut sheet with the number on it.
We're good now.
Yeah, we appreciate the precision.
It's going to be really good.
Now,
Whoops.
another little sidelight.
Hold on out front. You can-
When I
20
bought this
inch.
property,
Late spring.
Matthews went through the history as you did, but he also said that it had been a firehouse.
Detail later.
And he showed a picture of the fire engine behind the house where the parking lot is now. So I don't know how long it lasted.
Well, I'm guessing that's the city employee. Asa Countryman must have been involved in that. All right. All right. So hereby am amending the motion to delete the carriage house wall lantern and instead insert a Maxim carriage house 20-inch traditional bronze lighting fixture. I propose that amendment. I need to turn to you if you accept it as seconding the motion. All right.
That's all it does.
Hallelujah.
He prompted me well.
Okay, so as amended, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie? I also vote in the affirmative. All right.
Is that?
On
For
to
the
you.
Heritage Area Commission, are there any other questions or comments for the applicant? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
Motion, Kevin.
Do I hear a second?
Janet Morris, second.
Motion's on the floor. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Do I hear a motion to approve the repairing and replacing of the wooden features in kind, repairing brick and mortar in kind, repainting the structure, replacing exterior light fixtures, creation of a patio area with raised planting beds in the front yard, and installation of wrought iron flower bed or flower boxes beneath second-story windows as discussed tonight for 89 John Street?
So move, Mike.
Do I hear a second?
Nettie, second.
That motion's on the floor. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. Thank you.
Good luck.
Confident that even
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, that's only for an emergency. Number 8.
second call for number 8, that was.
Yeah.
Looks awfully empty.
I think we can do them.
I would recommend that we table that till next month.
I think we can handle them. There's no questions.
Really? All right.
Let's get them off the table.
Get 'em. Ooh. Well then, here we go. I will entertain a motion that we declare our review of 79-81 and 83 West Union Street to be a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Second.
No, move.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, Andrea Putes.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'm calling the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I vote yes also. Moving right along, I move that the commission find as fact that the installation of a shed in the Rondout Historic District by owner Sam Wilo, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic nature of the district for the following reasons. The proposed work will be adjacent to the 2.5-story structure on the north side of West Union Street, midway between Worth Street and Hone Street, with one gable facing south and another set east and west, dating between 1858 and 1870, and which is on the 1870 Beers map of Rondout, but not on the 1858 French map of Ulster County. The shed is 180 square feet to be set back behind the existing off-street parking area perpendicular to the street, with a 3-foot setback in a design which will complement the existing structure. The color will be white for the body of the structure with blue trim. The two properties, one containing the house and the other the shed, will be combined into one parcel, and the map will need to be filed with the county prior to a building permit being issued. The shed installation will be required to meet setback requirements in the zoning code or obtain a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to any additional work being carried out. The Commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. The change will create a substantial change to the appearance of the structure, and based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on the 6th day of April 2023, the Commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the Commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second?
Before I second, you need to read it faster and with more enthusiasm. Second.
Oh, no.
Let's try again. You'll be
I have
sorry
one
you
more.
asked.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, is there a lot line deletion here, or is there a
Yes.
ZBA
Yes.
matter? I thought I heard ZBA get
Well,
mentioned.
they're going to have to do one or the other,
Okay, all right,
and we're not in charge of that.
yeah, okay.
Because this does not obviate the need.
Clearly.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Your turn.
Heritage Area Commission members, do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
So moved, Mike.
Second?
Nettie, second.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet? Aye. Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie, I vote aye. Do I hear a motion to approve the planned amendment to reorient and place larger shed on the property, parcels to be combined by lot line delineation for, deletion for numbers 79 through 83 West Union Street as presented?
I move, not Nettie moves.
Do I hear a second?
Distracted
Do
over
I
here.
hear a second?
Second, Kevin.
That motion's on the floor. Any questions or comments? We're losing it. Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye, aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Janet? Aye. Kevin?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie. I vote aye. You got one more. Take a deep breath.
Andrea? Challenge accepted.
Aha! I look forward to it.
Sign this one first? All right.
Yeah.
This is regarding 3 Rogers Street. Anybody here on the application? Gosh, no.
Gosh, no.
That's the generator.
We hope they do, and we hope they will be amused thereby.
This is
I will
gonna be
entertain
epic.
a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
So moved, Andrea.
Second?
Second, Robert.
Hey, Robert?
Thank
Who
you.
motioned?
I performed the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Andrea so moved.
And
All
Robert
right. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'm calling the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Aye.
Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin.
Nettie?
Aye.
Thank you. I also vote yes. Introducing the motion, the commission find as fact that the proposed installation of a freestanding generator at 3 Rogers Street in the Rondout Historic District by owner Marianne. Oh my gosh, how does one pronounce CW? Quill?
Quill.
Quill, thank you. If done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. That the proposed work is to take place at the 2.5-story, 2-family house with a gable roof running parallel to Rogers Street and situated at the northwestern corner of Rogers Street and Broadway, which is present on the 1970 Beers map of the Roundup, but not on the French map of 1858. The parcel is a corner lot, and the generator was installed in a rear corner of the property, not visible from Broadway, but visible from Rogers Street. The applicant will install a lattice fencing around the unit to screen it and to allow appropriate access. The utility connections from the unit to the house are all located below grade and fully concealed. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. The commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, first we have to insert.
I know.
Okay, thank you. It is proposed to resolve that on this, I hereby move. I'm not even going to propose to resolve. I move that on the 6th day of April 2023, the Commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above-referenced applicant for the work as described herein, and in its application to the Commission, such a notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second?
I so epically second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Robert.
Aye.
Andrea.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Nettie.
Aye.
I also vote aye.
Sign.
On to you.
Well done, sir.
So moved.
That was Michael Deplior. Moving to the declaration of notice of seeker, type 2 action under seeker. Do I hear a second?
Second, Janet.
Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I'm Bonnie, I vote aye. And do I hear a motion to approve the installation of a generator unit visible from the street for 3 Rogers Street, as presented?
So move.
Second. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Good job.
The mayor's going to kill us. That motion's on the floor. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Kevin?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
And I'm Bonnie, I vote aye.
All right. So you get to adjourn.
Skedaddle. Hurry, hurry, go on.
No, not you. Go ahead, you can do.
Do I hear a motion from a Heritage Area Commission member to adjourn?
So moved to get out of here.
Do I hear a second?
So seconded.
No questions, comments, concerns for that one? All in favor, say aye.
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 And I'm Bonnie, I
Adjourned
vote
by
aye.
acclamation.
Right.
All right, HLPC members, we have one more bit of work. Deep breaths all. All right. We are getting a bit punchy, I know. But this is important in that we get to do a formal response to the other responsible agencies. Has everyone had a chance to review the mailing that was sent out by Sue? Sue, thank you so much.
Oh. Oh. Okay, if you're going that way. Yeah, okay. Okay. No. We won't do that.
Thanks,
Okay.
Mike. Greetings home. That's right, we are watching. Okay, the last paragraph of that, do you have it in writing anywhere, or do I need to punch it up on my computer?
The last paragraph of what?
Of your letter, your proposed letter, I had a comment. And if I have to remember it off the top of my head, it will never work.
Is that what you're talking, are you talking about what I sent out?
Yeah,
This?
yeah, the final draft.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you were talking about the email cover letter.
Nope. I think it's this presents a hazard is going to, creates a hole that someone's going to drive a truck through from a lawyer's perspective.
Okay, that was language that, yeah, we said, what would you change that to?
Rather than presents a hazard, if you can say either a hazard of substantial deterioration, severe deterioration, something like that? Or are you talking about a hazard from, like a brick falling on someone's head? Okay, so a hazard to the public, and then I would include or rapid deterioration to the structure.
So presents a hazard to the public.
Yeah, I think they, yeah.
We usually say public safety issue, an issue of public safety.
Oh, I kind of like that.
That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Presents
agree.
an issue of public safety.
Yeah, and then I would add in rapid deterioration. I mean, like when rain was pouring in through holes in roofs and things like that. And with that amendment,
Okay.
I would entertain a motion that we approve the draft, the final draft, and ask that it be sent to, if
Well,
it has
you're
to be.
approving, you approve it as the final recommendation.
Okay. And it's going to Common Council, or is it circulating? I'm
Goes
not
to
sure.
Common Council.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion that we send this as amended as our final recommendation to the Common Council. Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, Robert Tonner.
Thank you, Robert. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Excellent reverb. Nettie?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. I will entertain a motion to...
Wait, hang on. Can we
Wait,
just-
there's more.
Yeah, just sign. Well, before I get mixed up and stuff.
May I entertain?
There was, no, I also circulated, I just want to make clear that I also circulated the guidelines of the installation of signage under the Pike Plan, because that was something that had gotten questions. And, I mean, these are going to be attached because we wanted to bring them into the code. They're not in the code now, but I want to ask if everybody looked at them. Do you want to continue them as written, or do you want to change anything in those guidelines as they're written now? I think that was needed to be discussed as well. And then also, there was a diagram that I sent around that Andrea was kind enough to draw up to be reflective of the one section of the code. And so I think it's important that you look at that as well, and maybe recommend that that also be incorporated with, Andrea, you want to describe some of the notes. Can you pull that up, Kyla? It's under, there's a separate form-based code folder.
And I'm sorry, I know normally we get out of here first, but I think it was fate. You just needed someone to speak Spanish.
Can I just say that was awesome, actually? So I'm really glad, yeah, you were
Yeah,
capable
otherwise
of
I would have been
helping.
gone. It just worked out.
Yeah.
Strange how that
That
you
HAC
sort
went
of
first.
swapped HAC to go first this time.
We did that intentionally because of this.
Huh.
Well,
it
but
worked
he's
out.
saying it wound up working out, so that way the gentleman, the group, the two that were here initially first, they had a translator. It wound up working out nicely.
How strange.
So, yeah.
Well, it was meant to be.
Okay, so this is the drawing that Andrea came up with. If everybody recalls, there was confusion when we met. Mark, you weren't in that workshop. The second workshop, there was confusion with respect to the drawing. You can't pull them up side by side, can you? Right.
Right.
Less notation.
This does seem clear. Even I can figure this out.
The drawing did not have the roof line above, and we think that this was a blow-up of the figure above it in the code. Andrea and I also talked, we don't think that these negatives need to be there. You don't need to show what's not acceptable, show what's acceptable.
Yeah.
It confuses the whole issue, and so our recommendation would be to make the recommendation, take out those negatives and replace these two figures with what Andrea has proposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this seems much clearer.
Honestly, this top part, this top one, I don't mind having that.
Okay.
To show the whole column structure below, they could do sort of a cut like I did there.
Okay.
That way they can blow that up and make that size.
Right.
The image, and then that.
For that. Okay, okay.
Yeah, much more readable.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Then they can actually add information as I have there.
Okay, so keep and cut. Okay, and then remove, and replace. Okay.
All right, I'm going to move that we include in our final.
Okay, well, do you want to do that separately and then if there's any comment on the peg plan? I need to know that.
All right, I'll ask that question first. Any changes that people want to see in the Pike Plan regulations?
I don't think we're here for that long.
Indeed. You're
Yeah.
okay. All right,
Yeah.
so we'll put those in as, okay.
As is.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to move that we include the Pike Plan regulations continuing as they are, and also that we update and improve the illustrations concerning the Pike Plan as we have discussed tonight.
An updated version.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Robert. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call the roll backwards. Nettie? Kevin?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
I also say aye. Now, may I?
Yes.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can we do the wave as we do this?
We can do whatever we want.
Do you want to start?
No.
Aye.
Adjourn.
I need someone to move, and that's... All right, I'm going to give the move to Robert. Would you like the second, Andrea?
Second.
I will call the roll. Robert?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Nettie? I also say aye. We are adjourned.